This is the Unsung Cinematics Podcast, where we review some of the best kept secrets in TV and film. Your hosts, Stewart and Rastislav, present you with a misunderstood movie to see if it deserves the title of being unsung.
Greetings, cinematics lovers. Here we are on episode number 4 of 2026 of Off the Record with our picks of the month, Ken and Rosto, of course.
Hello.
Yes, hello guys, hello everyone. This is something we watched in June, I guess, maybe a little bit of May.
Both me and Ken are on the same treadmill, I guess, when it comes to our greater pick or the feature for this episode.
Yep, I guess we are. You and I will both be talking about the it's a little over
about a month.
Not quite a month. Yeah, about a month, yeah. Masters of the Universe, a 2026 release from Amazon and MGM with a runtime of 140 minutes and an MPA rating of PG-13 for sequences of violence and action, some suggestive material, and language. It's sitting at 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb and 52 on Metacritic, which is a little iffy, I guess, from some of the critics out there.
Yeah.
It was written by Chris Butler, Aaron Nee, Adam Nee, and Dave Callahan, and it was directed by Travis Knight, who has done a lot of a bit of 80s inspired stuff. He was the director of 2018's Bumblebee movie. And the story is not, it was designed to, please the fans of the original franchise and bridge the gap between Generation X and I guess the newer generations. The story involves young Prince Adam of the planet Eternia. He's sent to Earth by his parents King Randor, played by James Purefoy, and Queen Marlena, played by Charlotte Riley, and of course the Sorceress, who's played by Marina Baccarin, to escape an invasion by, we all know the evil Skeletor, who's played by Jared Leto. And they send him with the Sword of Power, of course, and Adam gets separated from the sword as he gets sent through the time tunnel or whatever it is to Earth. And he grows to be an adult who's played by Nicholas Galitzine. And he's kind of straight, the further away he is from the influence of Eternia and from the Sword of Power, he's grown into his late 20s, and he's become an office drone, as many people. I guess this is sort of an allegory for people,
right,
losing their purpose in life and sort of that sort of thing. And he's taken the name Adam Glenn, and he's meandering through days of work drudgery, trying to date and stay fit. But his preoccupation with the life he knew in his childhood is sort of interfering with his life on Earth. But soon, Skeletor's minions track him down to Earth, and they necessitate a rescue by his childhood friend, who's grown into the lovely Tila, played by Camila Mendes. Lovely and capable, we should say. She brings him back to Eternia, where Skeletor's rule has broken the spirit of the people and brought the capital Eternos to decay and ruin. Adam is reunited with his trainer Duncan, Man-at-Arms, played by Idris Elba, and a group of Eternia's defenders, and they are all now imprisoned. Adam rallies everyone and his talking pet tiger Cringer, who's voiced by Tom Wilton, to stand against Skeletor and his aide Evelyn, played by Alison Brie, who's been in a number of movies and TV series, including Glow on Netflix. It's up to Adam to find it within himself to tap the power of his kingdom's treasured sword and become He-Man, and prevent Skeletor from becoming master of the universe. Did you like that summary, Stu?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Or maybe it's, you bumbling flea bags.
Yeah.
What kind of summary is that, you bumbling flea bags?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I like Leto's performance. Well, you don't really see Leto's face. I don't know if he did motion capture or not, because it's really hard to tell.
It's probably wearing the green
the green dots, yeah.
Or not even the green dots, but maybe a hoodie or something that was all green, and they just painted it on in afterwards. But
Oh, but the
So,
Skeletor
so you
design I
don't,
thought was good.
yeah.
so you don't really see Jared Leto?
No. Skeletor is very much skull faced as presented in the original '80s incarnation. So you do hear his
Oh,
voice, and it's sort of recognizable as Jared Leto's voice, but of course he's playing it up and camping it up a little bit as he should be. And
Right.
he's probably it's fun. It's fun to listen and watch and sort of thing. And
Yeah, he
yeah,
wasn't as campy as, let's say, the original cartoon. He was more menacing, but
yeah, he was.
they
Yeah, that's
did
true.
throw
Yeah,
in some Skeletor one-liners and
yeah.
campiness to it. So it wasn't one way or the other. It was sort of a mix.
oh
It was a
yeah,
nice
and
balance, I thought. Yeah, yeah,
I'm also a big fan of Idris Elba. I really love this
yeah.
British actor. Not
Yeah,
sure
yeah.
how did you find him in this Masters universe?
Well, he plays a little. I liked him. He plays a little bit more of a wild card. They sort of the story for him. They sort of go a little bit into a cliche where he's sort of the fallen warrior who failed his kingdom and turns into a bit of a drunk while he's staying in prison. But
Yeah, they
Oh,
kind of did him dirty a little bit there. He was sort of the butt
yeah,
of jokes a lot of the time, and he
he sort
wasn't
of was.
portrayed
Yeah.
that way in the originals or even the reboots of it, cartoons. I don't
hmm
think so.
Although he sort of found his footing near the end, I guess you would say. But
Yeah, well, they left it open for a sequel, but
oh, definitely. Yeah.
unfortunately, it bombed pretty bad at the box office. So we'll see if they
Yeah.
actually want to scrape together the money again to produce a sequel. But
Well, I have a theory on why it's not done as well as it could have at the box office. I think it's a question of timing. I think they kind of missed the window or they should have waited for another window. I think the film would have done better if it had been released in 2016 or 2036. Because right now, m- m- I'm guessing, I'm just kind of ballparking this, but I would say that most children of Generation X people, they would have been young enough to go and see this film with their parents in 2016. Like they may have been around the age of 10,
mhm,
like early, like just hitting their teen years, just before they hit their teen years.
right.
And I think most of the grandchildren of Gen Xers, they likely wouldn't be old enough for this film until 2036, maybe, and then maybe they'd be approaching the 10-year-old age mark. Because
Okay.
I think what's happening is a lot of children of Generation X parents, they're more interested in films like Obsession or The Backrooms or Scary Movie 7, and they're kind of avoiding this. And it's mostly us old fogies who are going to see this in the theaters, I think, to be honest. And I don't think there's enough of them.
Yeah, when I went, there wasn't a ton of people in the theater. I'm going to say it was about one
Yeah.
third of the way full. And
Mm.
yeah, it was basically, well,
Mm-hmm.
it was a bit of a mix. I mean, there was definitely some older guys like us there
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and their kids, but that
Mm-hmm.
brings the question too. I mean, I mean, the reboot was from the 2000 and what was the original reboot? 2001 or 2 or something like that? Trying to
Oh, are
think
you
now.
talking about the cartoon?
Yeah,
I think it was I think it may have been the late 90s, early 2000s. I never had an opportunity to watch it.
right.
But then, of course, there was the Netflix reboot, which Kevin Smith helmed, and apparently wasn't all that great. Like, I
Right.
think
Well,
there's,
they killed off
yeah.
He-Man in the first 5 minutes. So,
Oh, you actually saw it? Okay. I never actually got around to watching it.
no, I didn't
But I
watch
will,
it, but I saw the clip where he was killed off. And, I
oh,
think
okay.
maybe this whole thing with Kevin Smith might have soured it for a lot of people. So when it
Yeah, possibly.
came
Yeah.
to reboot of the live action, it
Yeah.
probably had sour taste for many people. However,
Mm.
I had sent you that by the numbers thing there the other day, and it seems like the attendance was quite consistent throughout its run. So I think people were just very slow to get around to watching it as well. So it's possible it'll do
Mm.
better once it hits the streaming platforms. So
Because I imagine it'll be going straight to Amazon once it gets to once it gets to a window where they release it for like home viewing, and maybe the numbers will improve, as you say.
Yeah, I'm hoping so because I wouldn't mind watching a sequel of this for sure, especially that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
teased Orko at the very end.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. And they pretty much set up the world now, and I think they can, get more into a story or a plot that has a bit more.
Yeah,
Maybe the one thing I didn't really care for with this film was there was a lot of the dialogue was trying to be jokey and snarky and stuff, and like there were some bits of humor that actually made me laugh out loud in the theater, surprisingly enough. But I found a lot of the jokey dialogue was kind of falling flat and it's like kind of groan inducing.
yeah.
But
So well, there was
overall,
some of those innuendos were probably not
well, yeah,
properly
like
placed, but
well, those are kind of worth chuckling, I thought. But yeah, they do definitely sort of make light of the fact that there are, let's say, a couple of names of the hero characters that sort of lend themselves to, double entendres, and they
yeah,
they play up on that through the film. Like especially in the final battle near the end of the film, they sort of play on that a bit, but it didn't really ruin it for me. I thought those
no,
were
no.
kind of funny.
Yeah, no, it was a faithful recreation. Definitely a lot better than the 1980, was it 6 or 7 live action?
1987, yeah, yeah.
1987 live action with, but they did make a nice reference to Dolph in the film, eh?
Yeah, he had the cameo, yeah. And
Yeah, the cameo.
and
He's
he
like,
shows
"You're
up
in
in
my
the gym
chair.
where
You're in my chair."
yeah, that was kind of funny too. Definitely Travis Knight, the director. I think he's a Generation X too, so I think he had a fair bit of love for, the original 80s incarnation of Masters of the Universe and of course the Transformers. He's been pretty capable at doing that sort of thing. And yeah, I like to see him get a second chance at making.
And they spent a lot. I think they spent like 400 million to produce this. So
I think that's probably the total budget, like including marketing and all that. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So it's I mean, cinematically it was top notch. Everything was great
Oh,
about the
sure, yeah,
cinematics. So I don't
yeah.
know if they can produce something of that caliber again with a cheaper budget, but I guess we'll find out in the near future.
Yeah, I guess we will. I mean, I guess it'll ultimately depend on how it does on home video and like physical media.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
if yeah, but that's actually another funny thing. The 1987 film is actually being reissued later this year with an extended cut. Apparently, there's a preview cut that came out, but it was edited down for the theater.
Okay.
So that will be coming out on 4K UHD later this year. I think it's from a label called Toy Robot. And I
Okay.
would imagine that's probably going to be the same time that this film will hit Amazon and physical media as well. So maybe it's
Yeah.
going to be a double dose of Masters of the Universe for your fall.
Yeah, I expect them to probably try to get it out to the streaming platform as soon as possible so they can try to
Yeah, I
make up
think
some
so.
of their shortfalls there. So,
I guess so. Yeah, and I wanted to say I really enjoyed the music for the film, and of course, by the composer's name is Daniel Pemberton. He also did the music for Project Hail Mary and a few other films in the recent past. I thought he did a good job, especially they saved their famous theme music from the 80s cartoon. They sort of leave that until the end of the movie. But
hmm.
I like that rendition. I think it'll bring the tears, it'll bring a misty and tear to the eye of many a fanboy.
Okay.
I
And actually Brian May of Queen, the guitarist, he was listed in the credits. I don't know if he did any guitar work in the soundtrack, but they play, the Queen song Princes of the Universe at a point in the film, and yeah, that was kind of funny, I thought. But
Right.
I think
Yeah.
I think Brian May he's got classical musical education, so I think
maybe.
he would be capable actually to compose, to arrange the music, right?
Oh, I think yeah, I
But
think I'm sure he could, and I think he's done it in the past. So I think he actually worked on the score for the second Mad Max film too, or that might have
well,
been
here you
Brian
go.
Eno. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's got a
Yeah,
lot of experience. Sure, yeah. But yeah,
yeah,
I
for
enjoy the
sure.
music definitely, and I would like to see Daniel Pemberton and Brian May come back for the second one if it happens. Yeah, we were talking about the double entendre jokes. I think we should probably acknowledge that parents may want to use a bit of caution if they're bringing younger children to see the film,
Right.
because I was thinking with the access that children have to racy material through the internet, they might actually get the jokes. So
Yeah.
parents may want to keep that in mind.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the film. I'm gonna rate it 7.5, 7.5 out of 10, and it's in theaters now. What say you, Stu?
I rated it a 7.4 out of 10, so we're pretty much on the same
Oh yeah, yeah,
same
nice.
wavelength here. But
And
yeah, great film.
hopefully, yeah, and hopefully they have the power, and we'll see a sequel maybe in a couple of years.
I have the power.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had fun with it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thanks for that,
All
Ken,
right.
and thanks to
Thanks.
myself,
Thanks.
I guess. But
Thank you too, Stu.
yeah, so we'll get on to Rosto's greater pick then.
Yep.
We just had a heat wave in past week, so basically I didn't feel like to do any intellectual work. So I was watching the TV show called The Recruit. It's from 2022. They did one more season, and then Netflix, I think, unfortunately, cancel the show. The show was produced by Do Lyman or Lehman and created by Alexi Howley. It might seem like a typical shiny Netflix CIA or spy show. You would be surprised that it's actually exact opposite of what you would expect. It completely flips the typical James Bond or Jason Bourne IDs. The main character is played by Noah Centineo. He was known from some teenage dramas, but he really came up very good in this movie, and I was really enjoying his boss, played by Vondie Curtis Hall. He's very specific and with lots of charisma. The show follows the 20-something lawyer fresh out of school who gets a job at the CIA. And on his very first week, he gets thrown right into danger, basically. Basically, his job, he joins the bunch of department, like a lawyer's department, takes care of possible gray mailing of previous or former spies or agents, and they trying to act legally on this kind of threats when someone is trying to, let's say, dump some files or some data, or trying to reveal, or blackmailing, or the agency to reveal some other assets or whatever. So he's actually a lawyer, and he takes care of these kind of issues. Somehow he's thrown into some sort of danger. He's got zero field training. He's got no fighting skills. He spends most of the time basically having panic attacks. It doesn't feel like a serious spy thriller, but more like a messy corporate office nightmare, something like this TV show Office, or
Okay.
it's something like that. There's lots of black humor. I would say the location of the story, or that the fact that he works for the CIA, like an attorney, it's very funny. I was having lots of chuckles and laughing out loud sometimes. It's really also his colleagues, like they're Christian Brun. That's one of the actors who plays his colleague, and he's completely paranoid, and he denies everything. He doesn't want to cooperate, and basically all his colleagues, they're trying to use him somehow, or they don't trust each other, and it's really funny. So basically during the first season, he by basically by chance, and doing his job in his messy way, he somehow he gets really skilled So then he's in the second season. He's sent to South Korea, where he's pair up with Teo Yu. That's the actor from the movie Past Lives. And they cut the season down to just 6 episodes in the second season. But I mean, the movie pace, I mean, the TV show pace is really fast, slick, very nice humor, intellectual humor, situational humor. It's really enjoyable, and I think Noah Centineo really came up on his own, like a mature actor, and I was really enjoying that. It was really nice for those hot days I was going through. So of course there's some violence, some swear words, and it's really nice drama. And I kind of wonder why Netflix just cut it off. I guess they didn't have any more ideas how to continue, or who knows? I don't know. I think it would worth it to make one more season or something, you know. And my rating is, and I really recommend you guys to watch it. I would rate it just the same like you, 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Russell, I just wanted to throw in while we're on the subject. Noah Centineo was actually a candidate to play He-Man in the Masters of the Universe movie. So that was a few years ago before they. Yeah, go.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
So a little fun fact for everyone. He's actually. I don't know if he'll have an opportunity to make a third season because he's keeping pretty busy as it is. He's actually going to be in the new Street Fighter reboot, and I just saw a trailer for a film coming out with he and actor Will Poulter called Union County. It's a drama about opiate addiction. So it's not like he's lacking
Yeah,
for work. So yeah,
yeah. He really matured, such as,
right.
like before
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was just playing some naive characters in teenage dramas, but now he
yeah.
really came up on his own.
Right.
He's gonna. I believe he's gonna do good things.
Yep. He's looks like he's headed that way. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll move on to Ken's lesser pick.
I guess we will. And it's another reboot of an 80s sword and sorcery entry, but it's a bit more of a niche entry than Masters of the Universe was. So this was never going to be a huge money maker. It was made more for, fans of like 1980s direct-to-video sword and sorcery, let's say lower budgeted
Mm.
efforts. This is the 2025 update of Deathstalker. And it came out last year from Shout Studios and Raven Banner. It's got a runtime of 102 minutes, and it was not rated by the MPA, but it has violence, a lot of gore, and a bit of bad language. Also, I should mention that this was made primarily in Canada, so Stu, you and I's tax dollars from Telefilm Canada and Ontario Creates, some of our tax dollars went to help make this movie, but I'm not mad about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you
Right now,
did you have comics of this?
No, there was a comic series that came out a few years ago, and I think it was co-written by the guitarist Slash from Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
But that was only within the past few years. I mean, it's definitely inspired by like Conan the Barbarian and
Right.
other sword and sorcery stuff. But
Yeah.
it was not a Conan. It was sort of only. It was inspired by Conan, but it wasn't like a direct recreation of it or anything.
Mm.
It's got a bit more, the original films from the 80s and this one too. There's a bit more, silly humor, I guess you would say, and it's not quite as serious and grim as Conan.
Right.
Yeah, but as far as ratings go, it's sitting at like 5.8 out of 10 on IMDb. There weren't enough reviews for a Metacritic score, and it's written and directed by Steven Kostansky, who has been, working a lot. I don't know how familiar that name is to you guys, Stu and Rosto, but a lot of fans of the genre films from the 80s and stuff like that are very familiar with his work, such as Manborg, The Void, and Psycho Gorman.
VHS. He did one segment in the VHS.
Yeah, that's right. The horror anthology VHS. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep. So The story takes place in the realm of Abraxon. It's under threat of conquest by the sorcerer Necromemnon, who's played by Nicholas Rice, and the evil warrior Jotak, who's played by Paul Lazenby. The people need a champion. What they're getting is drifting and grifting disgraced knight Deathstalker, played by action veteran Daniel Bernhardt. While picking over corpses in the aftermath of a battle early in the film, he takes an amulet that places a curse on his soul. He meets a dwarfling magician whose nickname is Doodad, who's voiced by Patton Oswalt and performed physically by performer Laurie Field. And Deathstalker convinces Doodad to guide him to find a scroll which could help lift the curse. Along the way, they are joined by the young lady thief Brisbane, who's played by actress Christina Orgello, and her talents both help and harm their cause. The trio take up and lop off some arms to defeat Necromemnon, Jotak, and their army of Dreadite warriors.
Dreadites.
Yeah, it sounds like it might have been inspired by, Evil Dead a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting ready to save Abraxon from a prophecy involving the alignment of the world's 3 moons. Their hearts and their souls will be tested physically and spiritually before Deathstalker remembers his purpose. So, yeah, very simple story setup and lots of opportunity for practical gore and effects and that sort of thing. And it starts pretty much right from the opening titles.
Mm.
This is pretty much Stephen Kostansky's stock and trade, updating the feel of those 80s, as you were saying, Rosto, those direct-to-video efforts. Of course, he's had a lot of experience with practical effects. I think there was a little bit of CGI, but mostly practical.
I notice here that he did 5 episodes on Todd and the Book of Pure Evil as the special effects artist, which is something I've read in the past.
Right, yeah. He's got a lot of experience. He's done producing work and a lot of special effects work as well. So he's pretty experienced in that. Yeah.
Cool.
I think he did a pretty good job updating the franchise. So this film has plenty of those of the practical effects, and as I was saying, the silly sort of humor. Like some of the dialogue is kind of anachronistic. It sounds a bit too modern, but that was the case in the first 2 Deathstalker films as well from the 80s. So it's not really it's kind of sticking to the same form. One thing it does lack is, shall we say, the appreciation for the female form that was a hallmark of a lot the first 2 Deathstalkers and a lot of those sword and sorcery, low budget films from the 1980s and that particular era. Viewers may be a little disappointed by that. Christina Orgello's character, she's more in line with like the newer female characters. They're not, distressed damsels of the past sort of thing. A bit more capable. And I wouldn't say she's that term Mary Sue, but she's that, she stays clothed throughout the film. I'll put it that way. So there's not going to be a lot of TNA that audiences of the 80s were used to. So I guess they're sort of acknowledging that we're, living in a different time, I get, But the action and the comedy are pretty enjoyable, I thought. The performances are suitably over the top, as you would expect. And there are a number of Easter eggs throughout this film, and one musical sting at the very end of the credits that are going to bring a smile. I would say will bring a smile to the faces of the fans of the original films. There were actually 4 Deathstalker films, but the 3rd and 4th are not really held in high esteem from what I've read by the fans of the first two Deathstalker films. So they're sort of been disregarded, I guess. I like Daniel Bernhardt as the title character. He's in his 60s, but he's still performing in action films like Nobody and the John Wick franchise, and still he's
he was Kirill in John Wick, I remember.
That's right. Yeah.
He played this Russian guy, right?
That's right. Yeah. And he's trained in a lot of martial arts as well, like I believe in Taekwondo and Jeet Kune Do, I think. But very he's pretty much a badass, so he's good for the role. He's not an outright villain, but he's not necessarily an altruistic role model either. And I like the work of Patton Oswalt and Laurie Field. There's kind of a funny little dwarf tossing scene early on that
Jeez.
got a chuckle out of me.
Okay.
So yeah, so my rating is going to be it's my lesser pick, but it's still worth a watch. I'm going with 6.5 out of 10. It's now streaming on Shudder, and actually, I didn't even know this was happening. It's actually it just was reissued as a 4K UHD set along with the first two Deathstalker films from Shout Factory.
Cool. I
So
do have one question for you. To watch this film, do you need to watch the original two Deathstalkers that are relevant?
I wouldn't say it's required, but it will help you appreciate like as I was saying, some of the Easter eggs and the plot elements
Okay.
that it keeps in tone with from the first two. You could watch it on its own, but you'll probably appreciate it more if you watch the first two films. And of course, the first two films are also available on Shudder,
Okay.
along with you can watch the first two films on Shudder, and I believe you can watch the first two films on Tubi, I believe, but the third one, like this particular version, is only available on Shudder. So I'm pretty sure that's the only way you can find it on streaming.
Right. Okay. Well, I might have to check that out. It sounds something right up my alley. At least the looking at the pictures, anyways.
Don't expect Shakespeare, but they're good for like afternoon time wasters, I guess you would say. They're very they're pretty silly, but you'll get a laugh out of them, I think.
Cool.
I think this is the proper Stu's type of movie, so I believe I believe I would enjoy it for sure.
All right.
Savage amusement, as you would say, Rosto.
Yeah, exactly.
A parody of the Savage Amusement.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyways, that'll bring me to my lesser pick. And my lesser pick is Megan 2.0 from 2025, which is a Blumhouse production. Rated 14A for violence. The ratings on IMDb are 6.0. And it grossed 39 million worldwide and had a 25 million budget. So it wasn't a flop per se. Maybe if you add the marketing on top of it, it may have just barely broken even. But anyhow, this is the sequel to Megan, just Megan, and this one does a little bit of genre bending, and it went from a horror thriller to a sci-fi action thriller, directed by the same director, Gerald Johnstone. We have Allison Williams, who plays Gemma. She's the same actor and same character in this one, which is the scientist. We have Violet McGraw as Katie. She's the daughter who is grown up now by about 3 or 4 years. Amy Donald as Megan, who's the original actor as well. Again, she's grown up a bit. And Jenna Davis, who plays the voice actor for Megan, the android. So Megan 2.0, it basically picks up about 3 to 4 years after the original film, even though the original film was only a couple of years ago. So Megan was a doll that was thought to be lost. She was an android doll and went on her little terror spree, terrorizing the family in the original film. However, it has been 2 years since anyone has seen anything of her, and mysterious things begin to start happening to Gemma's family again. There is a military contractor that has stolen the plans to the original Megan AI technology and has started to develop a new AI android that seemingly has knowledge about the prior family. So this new Amelia, she's a supercharged version of Megan, self-aware bot, and it begins to cause havoc not only for Gemma's family, but it also wants to take over the company that created it, and also seemingly, I guess, the world eventually. It turns out, however, that Megan, the original AI, has survived in the cloud all this time somehow, and has feelings for her old family again. So Gemma figures it out that Megan is back, and it has infected all the devices in her house and is silently waiting to make her return. So Gemma's forced to come to terms that Megan is back, and when Megan does come back, they decide to give her body back, but in a slightly taller version to accommodate the actor's growth spurt and to join forces to fight Amelia. This film is not really worth watching. It is a complete dumpster fire from the original, which was, I'm going to say, just much better in every way. The whole genre bending thing didn't do it for me, because now they took all the horror and the thriller aspect out of it and turned it more into a sci-fi action film. And I'm not sure why they went this direction, because they had a following with the first film, and Blumhouse, they were doing some pretty good stuff at the time, but they seem to have had a string of bad films there in 2025, 2024. So, and the film, to me, it just seemed like a cheap Terminator knockoff of something. And really, they were trying to Meganize Human by making her seem semi-sympathetic to the family that she was terrorizing in the past. And for whatever reason, they gave her all these one-liners, just like they would in Terminator, but the one-liners were just really poorly written as well. So supposedly she had time to think about her mistakes. That is, Megan from the past admits there were some bugs in her programming, which seems pretty cliche to me. But anyways, the film is also filled with forgettable memes and characters, hashtags from social media, TikTok references, and not much substance going on in the film. There was basically no scares, no suspense, no terror. Just like I said, just a worse version of Terminator Dark Fate, but with less plot. And I found it too campy to be a good thriller, and not campy enough to be a parody. Even in the trailer, we have a reference to Britney Spears' "Oops, I Did It Again." And they tried to make her come off as sassy, but it fell flat on its face, especially with one-liners such as "Hold on to your vaginas." So,
What?
yeah, it was a total AI slop fest. Maybe pun intended, but
Oh no.
Yeah, so I don't know why they greenlit this one, but yeah, box office failure. Apparently, too, after this film had dropped and they realized how poorly it sat with the audience, in an interview they claimed that they were going to do some soul searching to try to course correct. And I think Universal Studios was spooked by their string of failures, and I think they may have actually course corrected, because Obsession, which is a recent film, seems to have done well and sit with the audience. So
it's doing amazing. It's doing amazingly well.
Yeah, so I think they may have course corrected after that string of bad films. So here we are, and my final rating is going to be 4 out of 10. That's even generous. So
How do you rate the first one?
I believe I gave the original one somewhere between a 6 and 7 out of 10. Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure on that one, so I'll have to go back. Maybe in the podcast notes, I'll put it in.
Okay, cool. And my second pick, which is slightly lesser, however, it's a little bit a paradox, because on IMDb this lesser pick is actually better than The Recruit by 2 points. It's 7.7, but for me it's actually a little bit lesser, but not so horrible. So my second pick is called Condor, and you may suspect it is based basically on a famous paranoia thriller by Sidney Pollack from 1975. It's actually a masterpiece called 3 Days of the Condor, which starred Robert Redford. You may ask, like, who would dare to update 70s classic? Actually, they did really good. They pull quite a good job. updating this story from 70s. It completely updates the flavor of political paranoia for basically the digital age. In the original movie, Robert Redford is kind of like very cool, effortless, analog, literally researcher running from, if you remember, running from phone booth to another phone booth in a rainy New York city. In the show, the main character, or supposedly who will be the same character like Robert Redford, is played by Max Irons and plays Joe Turner. In this show, he's kind of jittery, guilt-ridden millennial kind of IT guy, algorithm developer in Washington D.C. He isn't like a movie star running from a shadow government. He's kind of like an ordinary tech guy, completely overwhelmed. Mother, are you overwhelmed? Sorry, guys, I couldn't resist. Overwhelmed by a system that uses of course, cell phone pings, street cameras, facial recognition, and so it's much easier to chase him down, obviously, in a modern, cruel, cold, and distant world. And the show also does a good job in bringing up the William Hurt to play Joe's morally compromised mentor, which gives the corporate side of the CIA so much weight. Also, if you guys remember, Max von Sydow, he played in the original movie. He played this assassin character Joubert. In the original movie, the assassin is very. He's like a gentleman, kind of European gentleman, intellectual, talking with calm and professional detachment. Murder is just a business transaction to him, nothing else. In this TV show, there is a gender swap. So in this TV show, the Joubert is actually a girl. She's this tiny ex-Mossad Israeli lady who is very tiny but very deadly. She's kind of fierce, relentless. She herself is kind of like a weapon operating with tactical speed and like a cold calculation, and she's got some kind of agenda. She likes to sleep with her next target. Basically, it's kind of sick.
Oh, interesting.
It's completely opposite. It's really like they maintain the main theme is maintained. You have this guy who works for the CIA, but he's just a programmer, nothing else. Just like Robert Redford, he was just kind of literature researcher and nothing else. And then so the whole department is killed off, and then the rampage of chasings and catching up with the killers and chasings and all that conspiracy and who is the bad guy, who is the good guy. This typical paranoia genre. There is a different approach. If you guys remember, Robert Redford actually kidnaps this Faye Dunaway. She plays this innocent random lady who somehow gets involved in the story. In practically, they develop some sort of romantic relationship between Robert Redford and Faye Dunaway. And in this TV show, it takes much longer time until she starts to really trust him and believes his conspiracy bullshit. It's like it's as if
Yeah.
as if Stu would kidnap me and trying to convince me that clouds are modified somehow. Or
Jeez.
so,
I don't think I'm big
So,
enough to kidnap you.
but just kidding. But basically, the relationship develops a little bit differently, and actually, in the end, she gets killed. I was really enjoying that, but you cannot avoid comparing the masterpiece from '75 and this TV show. So
Mm.
I was quite biased. I'm a big fan actually of this movie. I mean the original movie. So I thought a little bit of less of this show, but still good. Still, it's nice CIA drama. I think she's originally from Palestina. This tiny lady who played Joubert. So it was her name is Lim Lubani. So it was really refreshing to jump from Max von Sydow directly to this pretty lady from Oriental lady, and all those skills and martial arts and cold shooting with the silencer, and she was just like a robot. I mean, she was like the Terminator 3 with this female Terminator. She was something like that, She was
Jeez.
really like a machine. But Bob Balaban is there. I already mentioned William Hurt, Kristen Hager, and other good cast. Toby Leonard Moore. He's he's really a interesting character. This guy, Tony Leonard Moore. You can remember him maybe from Daredevil TV series, or of course John Wick. I mean, John Wick. There was this palette of all kinds of bad guys, So
Yeah,
all
yeah.
those strange characters are there.
Mm.
I think John Wick is like a portfolio for any other interesting TV shows that
Mm.
that were done thereafter. I am giving a little bit of less points. I gave The Recruiter 7.5. I'm giving this straight 7, but it was still enjoyable. It's also 2 seasons, so not a
Long
uh,
watch.
long watch like Winchester Brothers or something. Like you go forever. I
Oh, you
mean,
mean
they
Supernatural? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they almost retired by the time the show was over. So
Yeah, that's right.
yeah, I recommend. It was nice, refreshing CIA show.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it. Watch it.
I haven't watched the original film, but I do have it on a DVD I acquired somewhere in my thrifting adventure. So I'm gonna have to dig that out and check it out.
Cool.
Yeah, do that, man.
Yeah,
Do that. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I'm sure you're gonna enjoy it.
Oh, I'm sure I will.
All
Yeah.
right. All right. Thanks for that, Rosto. And I do have one dishonorable pick that I don't want to dedicate an entire part of my episode to. And that is, I finally got around to watching Nuremberg, the newer one from 2025, or was it 2024? Anyways, so I got around to watching that, and it was, I couldn't even make it through the film. I think I made it halfway through the film before I turned it off, but it's basically a work of fiction. It had weird dialogue and messy acting, and it was just boring all around. So I think I gave it a 5 out of 10. So,
I was just expecting like 3 or something.
well, maybe 3. I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, I gave it a 5 because maybe the second half of the film was better, and I didn't get around to watching the rest of it. So, but I think Rosto had mentioned prior that the original one was better from the 60s, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So if you're gonna watch a Nuremberg film, watch that, the original one from the 60s.
Oh, that was Judgment at Nuremberg, right?
You have to be in a certain mood to watch this post-war drama about the famous unfamous Nuremberg trial, which was heavy, very heavy, and but definitely yes, the original drama with Marlene Dietrich was just amazing. I mean,
Yeah. This one was just
it's
all made up stuff. They just took so many liberties, I think, with everything, and they just threw it in
yeah.
throw it in the melting pot. So,
Okay.
but anyways, that's going to wrap up our episode of Off the Record. And thank you, boys, for coming on. And
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
thanks, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you in the next full-length episode. The Unsung Cinematics podcast is produced by Rastislav and Stewart Rathje. The statements in this podcast are the opinions of the hosts and not necessarily a true statement or literal fact. You can find us on Substack at unsungcinematics.substack.com or listen to us on your favorite podcasting app. Copyright 2026.